based on input.
3 and 5. Ooh.
So that's how you would get to multiple variables if you needed to send multiple variables to a script using this method.
Excellent. Okay, now I think they kind of get the basic understanding of how they can pass information into a page through these variables. Well, how can we use it? What's it good for?
For like the actual use of the information, you could store it in a database or do whatever you want with it.
Okay, we have any examples? I mean, I know we got...
Like, you could write a guest book, or, yeah.
I think we'll be doing the guest book coming up real soon, as a matter of fact.
Actually, we will, yeah. We'll be writing a guest book.
Okay, so right now, is there anything else that we can show in this section? I mean, I know we're supposed to be talking about get, post, and form, so what else can we show them?
Well, we can actually write a form to utilize this. Give basically something that the user can type into and click instead of typing a cryptic URL.
Yeah, that would really sink going to a website and them telling you, type this above and include these variables. Ugh. Yeah, so go ahead, set up a form.
So I'm going to take that section out, including the exit. So we basically have just the code necessary to get the $sign, or to get the test variable, and then check its length. Now, outside, you could have the PHP echo out some HTML. I'm just going to go after the closing PHP tag and start writing the HTML for a form. So form action equals, let's see, since we're going to be, we're basically just going to have the form be submitting to itself. That's, let me type out the whole form line first, then I'll explain it. Action equals.
As he's typing, I'll just remind you that we're not going to be going in depth into HTML coding, so while he can talk a little bit about this, we're not going to get into it heavily.
Alright, so this is basically making an HTML form. When this form is submitted, it will be going to vartest.php, and the method is get. Remember the little $_get? So we're sending, that's basically what get's called. It's a method of sending data. Now, inside this form, I'm going to create an input tag, input, and its type will be, type in equals, a text, so basically just a text box to type in, and name equals, we'll call this test. So we'll still be submitting to that test element in the get array. And then we need to make the actual button for the user to hit, so input type equals submit name. Well, actually submit. We just need a value. We just need to actually write what the button actually says. So value equals submit. This is what the button will actually, or the name, or what's written on the button. So with that, that should work. So save var test, and we go and erase everything after. And no input, because nothing's been sent to it yet.
And a 0.
And a 0 for the length as well, because I probably forgot to take out an echo somewhere. But anyway, now I've got a text box and a submit button. So what happens if we type something in it? Type submit, and look at that. It's okay. We have 2 echoes in there. Let me go clean it up a little bit. You can see, and look at that. Remember I erased everything, the question mark and everything after it. After I hit submit, it actually, that's what it did. It went to this and added that question mark test equals Jayhawk for actually using the get method to submit data.
Very cool. Now let's go ahead and jump back in the code and kind of clean it up a little bit.
So we were already echoing, checking for length, and let's see. So echo len or don't echo. So refresh. So you type. So now you can type anything you want. You don't have to mess with the URL. You just it's more user friendly this way.
Okay.
Now you notice how whatever you type, it's getting added up here. And if you had more text boxes, each text box or input element would actually become another, like whatever you named it. Notice that we named it test, and that's how it got submitted. It's submitting under this name.
But you don't always
text.
want that to be visible up there, do you?
No, there's you may want to just keep that hidden. Like say you have a complicated search engine and this URL goes on forever. If you want to keep this nice and clean, you can change the method you use. Instead of using get, you can change this to post, and then you'll have to change the $underscore post. This, since it stores get and post in 2 different arrays, or predefined arrays. So with this method, if we type something in, submit, and we didn't refresh the page. It's still been open. So if I see there,
So no question mark and all that good stuff after the end.
So yeah, the URLs stays clean, but it's still submitting the data. Whatever we type, like if we type times these, that should have a lot of characters in it. Submit 16 characters. Submit, no input.
Very nice.
So that way, it's just a way, if you know that you're never going to need to see the data, you can use post to keep that hidden and keep the URL a lot cleaner.
Okay, very cool. So yeah, one thing that, just in case some of the beginners out there aren't catching this, basically what's happening is this form is being told to submit to itself. In other words, we call this page again, and that PHP code executes up there at the beginning and prints out what we needed to print out before you actually see the form when the page is re-rendered in your browser.
Yep, sounds good.
All right, Logan, is there anything else that we might need to tell them about forms and all? Let's see, just looking at the form input type, we've got two input types right now that we're using, text and submit. I said that we weren't going to get into this real deep, but I just want to tell you guys there are multiple input types that are available to use.
You can make drop-downs, text lists, text boxes.
Absolutely, and you can find a list of those on the site. But you can't go in there and just type any text you want there, can you, Logan?
In here?
Yeah, as far as the input type. You can't call it text to text, can you?
Yes, well, it'll default to text.
There
if you mess up the name and just like leave off the T, save it, and refresh, it's still a text box. It just defaults to that. If you give an invalid type, it'll default to text box.
Very good. Okay, and let's see, anything else we want to
Another thing to note would be where I specified the method. Remember, before I had method equals get, and it was the same thing as it was using the get method, then I changed it to post. If you completely omit method, it defaults to get.
Okay, yeah, definitely good to know. All right, well, I guess that this would probably be enough information now where we could, let's say, write a guest book maybe?
Yep.
I mean, you know how to get information from somebody now. You know how to check to make sure the information exists, so then we could give them some little errors if they left something off, let's say. And we know how to handle writing information into a database as well. Well, do we know how to handle writing information?
We have.
We have.
We've used MySQL queries, and we have used the MySQL monitor to input data.
Exactly. So it's the same thing.
It's basically just running a MySQL command or query.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just making sure we got all our grounds covered, and I think so. So with this is going to conclude this lecture right here, and what we're going to do is go ahead and move forward into actually creating something usable, a guest book. Thanks, guys.